Today we are going to discuss about science and environment journalism from research to readership, and this is second part of our session. Understanding science and environmental research journalist perspective. You have to understand the research paper, potential of the published research paper, about the journal, about the impact factor, about the peer reviewed papers, methodology, data sets and its significance. Contrast with peer materials for balanced reporting, and journal criteria to note is the reputation, impact factor, peer review standards. You must know about these keywords, and before reporting any research paper, you have to check the journal's reputation, impact factor and peer review standards also, and be careful about that. And understand and research types also, like this is some theoretical research, empirical research, field survey or meta-analysis. And the science context, place work in ongoing discourse, what adds value or perspective. How to read a science research paper, very interesting and very and very simple also. No need to worry about technical aspect of a research paper, of a science research paper. First, abstract. Identify core questions, findings, implications and introduction and literature review. You have to read, understand the context and the novelty which is inbuilt in the introduction and literature review of any research paper, and methods also. Detect sample size, study design, strength and limitations. So, these are the key aspects to understand any research paper, whether it is science or any other social science subject. So, we are talking about the science and environmental reporting or journalism. So, we focus on science research papers for journalism point of view. How to read a science research paper, my dear friends, listeners, students, you must know, because in a science research paper you can find lot of data, new findings, discoveries and lot of news worthy items, newsworthy findings. So, first of all you have to read the results. Look for statistics, visual aids and practical meaning. Discussion and conclusion. Yes, discussion and conclusion is the later or final part of the paper, and you have to read the first result, discussion and conclusion, study claims versus actual evidence, and conflict, funding, access, potential biases, whatever you can find in any research paper, and references also. Identify other primary sources, consult experts, talk to experts, discuss and interview scientists or experts, seek independent comments on scope and pitfalls. So, beyond research papers, a wealth of resources can inform and enrich science and environment reporting. Government ministry websites. In India, Ministry of Science and Technology, Department of Science Technology, Department of Biotechnology and Council of Scientific and Industrial Research (CSIR) for research updates, policy documents and expert contacts. Lot of content, lot of new findings, lot of media press releases you can catch from DST, DBT and CSIR websites. And Ministry of Earth Science MOES also, India Meteorological Department IMD, National Center for Coastal Research NCCR for climate data, weather predictions, oceanography, like that National Center for Medium Range Weather Forecasting, which is located in Noida, and some other centers on polar research in Goa under the Ministry of Earth Sciences. So, you have to visit the website to get the lot of content, fresh findings, data and a lot of news angles from these researchers. Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, MOEFCC, Central Pollution Control Board, Wildlife Institute of India, for environmental regulations, pollution data, and conservation efforts. Uh, ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization, for update on space missions, satellite data, and astronomical discoveries. Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, MOHFW, ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research, for public health data, medical research updates, disease outbreaks. International organizations like UNEP, United Nations Environmental Programme, Global Environmental Assessments Policy Guidance, data on climate change, biodiversity, pollution you will get from UNEP at global level as well as India level. So, international organization like Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, is playing very important role in climate change, and in past years IPCC has issued a report in which it was written and stated very clearly that 95% human activities are involved in carbon emission or involved in climate change. So, comprehensive scientific assessment on climate change essential for understanding the consensus on climate change. WHO, World Health Organization, Global Health Statistics, Disease Surveillance and Public Health Guidelines you can find from WHO. Then NASA or European Space Agency, ESA, JAXA means Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, for international space missions, astronomical discoveries, and Earth observation data. You have to visit that website. WWF, World Wildlife Fund, Greenpeace Conservation International, NGOs providing reports, campaigns, and ground level information on conservation and environmental advocacy. Scientific unions and societies like International Council for Science, ISC, often publish reports and position papers and host conferences. And Science Communication Network is another platform where you can approach, you can apply as a science journalist. Earth Journalism Network, EJN, offers training, grants, and resources for environmental journalists globally. World Federation of Science Journalists, WFSJ, promotes science journalism worldwide, offers training and networking opportunities. Association of Healthcare Journalists, AHCJ, provide resources for health journalists. So, scientific journals and publishers for news sections, Nature, Science, Cell, The Lancet, NEJM often have news sections or news and views sections that summarize key papers or provide press releases. So, in Nature, Science, Cell and Lancet, etc., you will find lot of content to prepare your news items, to prepare your headlines. Data portals, World Bank, Open Data, UN Data, national statistical agencies for socio-economic and environmental data, think tanks and policy institutes often produce reports and analysis on science and environmental policy. And Observer Research Foundation, ORF, is one of the think tank which is doing fantastic job in policy and its implementation based features are concerned. So, after research reading and content understanding, how to make notes for media news and features is the important thing. Effective note taking is crucial for organizing information and identifying the key elements for your story. How you collect the content, how you collect the newsworthy information from the resource material, from the research papers, from the websites, from the various discussions from scientists and experts. So, this is one of the smartness which may be improved after training and after experience. You have to be able to make your effective notes, and for which you have to read, you have to interact, and you have to watch everything and websites and other things. For news stories, concise, timely, factual. These are the three essentials for any news story. And headlines idea, a concise, attention grabbing headline summarizing the main news. So, this is the headline idea. And lead paragraph, it must be focused on 5 Ws and 1 H. Who did the research? Who is affected? So, what was discovered or found, and what is the main finding? When was it discovered or published? Timelines is key for news. Timeliness, and where did the research take place, and where are the impacts felt, and why is this finding significant, why was the research done, and how is the most important component in these 5 Ws and 1 H. All are important, but how, you cannot miss the how. How was the research conduct? You must check and share to your audience briefly. Like so for example, one lab has produced one RO for water treatment, right, reverse osmosis machine for water treatment or for drinking water. So, when you are covering that RO, we can say invention or innovation, whatever. So, you have to ask to the scientists, who are the scientists involved, what is the new thing in it, when and where it was taken place, and why you are doing so. But what is the mechanism, how it works, which makes it cheaper from the other ROs available in the market. So, how is the very essential point in your lead paragraph or maybe news item. And key findings, list the most important result clearly and simply. Significance, why does this matter to the public? What are the real world implications? Quotes, identify potential direct quotes from the researchers, experts, or affected individuals that add authority or human interest. Background, context, briefly note any essential background information needed to understand the story. And limitations, any important disclaimer about the research, like preliminary finding, small sample size, future research also, what does this research open up for the future, and sources to interview. List primary researchers, independent experts, policymakers, and affected individuals. Data, any compelling numbers or statistics that can be used, and also visuals, idea for graphics, photos, or videos. For feature stories, in-depth narrative interpretive, angle narrative hook. What is the overarching theme or story you want to tell? How can you make it compelling? Characters, who are the people involved? Scientists, affected individuals, innovators, what are their stories? Problem challenge, detail the scientific or environmental problem in depth. Solution, innovation, explore the solution being developed or implemented. Journey or process, describe the journey of discovery, the challenges faced, or the process of scientific inquiry. Any kind of discovery is happening in any lab. It has a journey, it has a travelogue, it has a story from point 0 to point conclusion, what they concluded, what they found, and human element, how does this science or environment issue affect people's life. Conflict or controversy, if any, different viewpoint, ethical dilemmas, policy debates, and historical context also. How has this issue evolved over time? So, broader implications. What are the societal, economic, or ethical consequences? Anecdote, personal stories, detail that can bring the story to life. Descriptive detail, sensory information for vivid storytelling, like describing a lab, a pollution river, a forest. If you are describing a radiocarbon lab from scientists, they are just explaining about the, you know, ये स्टोन और एनी ऑब्जेक्ट डेट कि ये कितने साल पुराना है, उसका वो ये निकालते हैं, एक अनुमान उसकी एज निकालते हैं. सो यू हैव टू talk to the scientist, you have to interact to scientist, and you have to get the feel, the enjoyment of the lab, how scientists are working in the, lakhs of years back, they are finding the age of that particular object in the radiocarbon dating lab. Just for example, expert interviews, detailed, beyond quotes, note down insights, analogies, and explanations that help illustrate complex concept. You must interview in detail. No problem if you are going to broadcast or publish a smaller part of a smaller section of the interview, but you have to record, you have to talk in detail to understand the insight and analogies of the topic. Data evidence, interpretive. How can data be woven into the narrative to support arguments, structure ideas, possible opening, turning point, and conclusions? Multimedia operations, ideas for photo, video, interactive element, and timeliness. And this multimedia opportunities are, sky is no limit in the digital media, particularly because in digital media you can showcase in-depth interview, unlimited text, maximum videos, graphs to make your feature or news, best for read and understand the subject. So, how to prepare science environmental news? So, accuracy is paramount. Double check all facts, figures, and scientific claims. Misinformation can have serious consequences. So, be careful. Clarity and simplicity. Avoid jargon. A technical term is, if the technical term is necessary, explain it clearly. Use analogies and metaphors carefully. Focus on the so what. Immediately convey why the news is important and how it affects the audience. A strong lead. Start with the most important and newsworthy information. Inverted pyramid style. So, what it is? Inverted pyramid style means you have to focus on the findings. You have to focus on the conclusion. Scientists find leukemia gene. Is your child at risk? Question mark. In a research paper, finding is leukemia gene. So, you can ask the audience, is your child at risk? Is it or not? So, this is the inverted pyramid style where you can take results or conclusion as headline, as lead, and in any research paper, any researcher or scholar or scientist start his or her research paper from a background abstract point 0 to findings, but in your news you have to search lead items from the conclusion or findings. Be careful for that. And attribution, clearly attribute all scientific finding to the researchers and institution responsible. Context, place the news discovery within the broader scientific understanding of the field. Is it a breakthrough or an incremental step? Limitation and caveats. Report on the limitation of the study and avoid overstating finding. Overstating finding. Distinguish between correlation and causation. Balance expert opinion. Seek comment from the independent expert who were not involved in the research to provide an objective assessment, because every scientist or expert will अपनी पीठ खुद थपथपाएगा because they are involved in their research. So, just for vetting or the cross check, you have to ask few questions on that research to other professors or other scholars to just get the feel whatever in the broader perspective. Avoid false balance. Do not give equal weight or airtime to scientifically understandable claims or fringe views, especially when there is a strong scientific consensus like climate change, denial, anti-vaccine sentiments. Balance means representing the scientific consensus accurately, not creating a debate where none exists within the scientific community. For example, in the GM crop, when you are going to cover the genetically modified food or crop, you have to check the research findings, talk to the scientist, and please do not give much weightage to the non-scientific things. If I am saying that GM crop is not good for the society, for the environment, for our health, how I am claiming that? You have to ask to the to me or to any particular individual or agency or any NGO that why you are opposing. What are the findings? What are the researches you have to oppose that GM crop scientist? Then decide your balanced story, right? Not before that. Human interest, where appropriate, include the human story behind the science, the researchers, the impact on people, what kind of impact are going to be placed on that research or findings. You have to check. And solution, if applicable, if the research addresses a problem, briefly mention potential solution or next steps. And we can talk about the case study like reporting on GM crops, controversy and balance. Reporting on genetically modified GM crop often involve controversy and requires careful navigation of scientific evidence, public perception and policy debates. Understand the science. Explain what GM crops are. Plant whose DNA has been modified using the genetic engineering and the specific traits being introduced like pest resistance, herbicide tolerance, improved nutritional profile. Like in the case of GM Makkah and Punjab Agriculture University, they are checking herbicide tolerance character of the GM Makkah in Punjab, and farmers and lot of NGOs are opposing that herbicide which is banned in Punjab. So, how and why and what are the safety measures they are going to implement while trial of GM maize or GM Makkah. So, distinguish between the different GM technologies like traditional transgenic method versus newer CRISPR gene editing. Acknowledge the scientific consensus. Globally, major scientific bodies largely conclude that currently available GM food are safe to eat, but each case needs individual assessment. And lot of research papers have been written, available on internet. You have to read before reporting. Acknowledge the controversy and concerns. Public concern often revolve around health impact, like perceived risk to human health through largely unsupported by scientific consensus for approved GM crop. when there is no scientific consensus and there is no scientific evidence, how you will say or report about the health impact by the GM crop? Very difficult. So, please check with experts. Environmental impact, consensus about gene flow to wild relative, impact on biodiversity, development on herbicide resistance, weed or pest resistance. How? You have to check with scientists. They will tell you the truth, whether it is going or not. So, socio-economic impact, control by large corporations, impact on small farmers, intellectual property rights, and ethical consideration also playing good with nature. So, be careful with the ethical considerations. And balanced reporting on GM crop, present scientific evidence clearly, cite a study on safety, yield increase and reduce pesticide use, like meta-analysis often show positive impact, including diverse stakeholders' voices. Interview not only proponents, scientists, agriculture industry, but also critics, environmental NGOs, farmers unions and consumer advocacy groups. And distinguish between fact and opinion concerns, clearly label what is scientific evidence and what is a societal or ethical concern. Report on regulatory frameworks, explain how GM crops are regulated in India and globally. Address a specific concern with evidence. If a specific concern like GM crop cause allergies is raised, address it with scientific evidence or lack thereof. Please do not report anything without scientific evidence, right? No need, he says this, she said this, that NGO said no. Please ask about the evidence. Any published research paper, then report. Contextualize benefit and risk. Explain both the potential benefit like increased food security, reduced pesticide use and potential risk like economic implication for farmers, development of resistant pest. Avoid sensationalism. Do not use alarmist language or imagery that exaggerates risk or benefit. Case by case approach. Emphasize that safety and impact depend on the specific crop modification. Focus on local experience. If reporting in India, discuss the experience with BT cotton, its successes and challenges, and the ongoing debate around other GM crop like GM mustard. So, you have to focus the local experience also. So, this is all about the presentation. So, you have to be careful while presenting these kind of controversial aspect, not only this GM crop but also in the case of nuclear energy. बहुत सारी भ्रांतियां हैं नाभिकीय ऊर्जा को लेके कि न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी में न्यूक्लियर वेस्ट बनता है, बहुत सारा इसमें से रेडिएशन निकलता है, वो तमाम सारी बातें जिसमें फैक्ट भी हैं और बेबुनियाद बातें भी हैं. तो अगर आप न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी को कवर कर रहे हैं इन एनर्जी सेक्टर, यू हैव टू बी केयरफुल अबाउट द फैक्चुअल फाइंडिंग्स एंड द लॉट ऑफ गॉसिप्स लाइक अगर हम न्यूक्लियर पावर प्लांट में जाते हैं तो हमको रेडिएशन का खतरा रहता है. दिस इज़ नथिंग बट नॉन साइंस, एंटी साइंस. तो दिस इज़ ऑल अबाउट टुडेज सेशन. थैंक यू.